thought the air was ugly.
Ladies.
It is quite all right. You must mean my father. And no offense taken, he was ugly.
During Bridgerton's first 2 seasons, something always felt slightly missing, even though most viewers were swept away by the costumes, romance, and glittering drama. That missing piece was the complete absence of queer representation. For a show that otherwise painted itself as progressive and inclusive, the lack of LGBTQ+ storylines stood out. But things began to shift in Season 3, which finally leaned into this blind spot. Suddenly, the series revealed that 2 Bridgerton siblings themselves are queer, changing the tone of the family saga in a big way. Benedict Bridgerton, who has always been the carefree, slightly eccentric brother, stumbled into his bisexual awakening through an unexpected situation. While spending time with his new casual girlfriend, Tilly, he found himself equally drawn to her old casual boyfriend. That threesome made Benedict realize that his desires stretched further than he'd previously understood, and fans couldn't help but notice that the seeds of this discovery had been sprinkled into his character all along, perhaps even unintentionally. At the same time, Francesca, the quieter and more reserved Bridgerton sibling, experienced her own shocking moment in the season finale. Although she had just married John, she couldn't ignore the spark she felt when she met his cousin, Michaela. The attraction hit her like lightning, creating a potential rewrite of her original book storyline. Fans of Julia Quinn's novels quickly noticed this gender swap twist, since in the books, Francesca's future love interest was John's male cousin, Michael. Now that Season 3 has left viewers with those revelations, speculation around Season 4 is in overdrive. Netflix hasn't confirmed which sibling will step into the leading role, but everyone agrees it has to be one of the 3: Benedict, Francesca, or Eloise. Eloise is another character who has often been read as queer-coded, since her witty, sharp, and independent personality sets her apart from the ton's traditional expectations. Many fans believed Eloise would be the first to come out, especially because her complicated friendship with Penelope and even her interactions with Cressida sometimes read more like a love triangle than casual bonding. The big question hanging over Season 4, then, is how the creative team will handle queer romance within Bridgerton's particular version of history. From the beginning, the series has played fast and loose with its Regency setting. It embraces all the glamorous aesthetics of the period: carriages, dances, grand estates, and restrictive social rules, while smoothing over the uglier parts. Poverty, sickness, and the cruelty of empire are quietly brushed aside. And while race doesn't seem to carry the same real-world prejudices in this world, other rules, like women's virginity before marriage, still matter a great deal. The end result isn't historically accurate, but it's not trying to be. Bridgerton is essentially a fantasy, one where classic string quartets perform modern pop songs and 19th century women flaunt perfect acrylic nails. Because of that dreamy quality, Bridgerton can pick and choose which social rules to enforce. That's why the arrival of queer romance actually feels like it could fit in. The show has never been bound by historical accuracy. Instead, it bends history to serve the emotions of its characters and the drama of its storylines. So when it comes to Benedict and Francesca, there are 2 very different ways this could unfold. Francesca's story already looks like it will be one of quiet self-discovery. She married young, but the deeper feelings she experiences for Michaela suggest she's headed toward a life-changing realization. Francesca has never craved the spotlight like some of her siblings, so it's easy to picture her journey being quieter, more intimate, and perhaps leading to a private but meaningful happily ever after. Benedict, however, is a completely different case. He thrives on being sociable, playful, and curious. Over the past 3 seasons, we've seen him immerse himself in the artistic world, embrace new ideas, and even experiment with polyamory. That makes him an excellent candidate to explore queer identity more openly within the ton. Fans wonder if his adventurous spirit might allow the show to dip into a fictionalized queer subculture in Regency London. Could his dynamic with Tilly and Paul become a precursor to some kind of unconventional marriage? Or will the writers give him a more classic Bridgerton arc, where he eventually settles down with a single true love after exploring his desires? These possibilities highlight one of the trickiest challenges the show now faces: how to balance its fantasy elements with the social realities of the era. Earlier seasons confirm that the world is still homophobic to some degree, since Benedict's friend Henry Granville and his lover, Lord Weatherby, were forced to hide their relationship. The question is whether Bridgerton will continue acknowledging those constraints or sweep them away the same way it did with racial prejudice. One path would be to mirror what the show has already done with race, essentially erase homophobia from this world and allow queer couples to exist openly. It would be unrealistic historically, but it would match the show's larger ethos. Secrets and shame are obstacles to love, and true happiness comes only when they're overcome. It would be hard to imagine a Bridgerton finale where queer couples are left living in secrecy while straight couples enjoy public weddings and children. But of course, that comes with complications. Bridgerton is still built on a social framework that revolves around marriage, reputation, and strict gender rules. Every season reinforces the idea that women must marry well to secure their futures, and failure to do so results in scandal or disgrace. Penelope is unusual because her independence comes from her secret career as Lady Whistledown, while Eloise is tolerated because her family shields her from the worst of society's expectations. By contrast, someone like Cressida shows how cruel the system can be. She's punished for refusing an unwanted marriage and for briefly pretending to be Whistledown. So how does a queer couple fit into this structure? Would Queen Charlotte herself decree that same-sex marriages are acceptable? And if so, what would that mean for inheritance and property rights? Would the town treat a same-sex liaison the same way it treats premarital heterosexual affairs? These are the kind of questions the writers will need to answer if they want to keep the tone consistent. Another layer to all of this is Bridgerton's traditional definition of happily ever after. Until now, the pattern has been clear. A sibling finds their soulmate, they marry, and they immediately start a family. But queer storylines might push the show to expand that template. Francesca's attraction to Michaela complicates her path, while Eloise, who has always been more interested in ideas than romance, could potentially push it further. Her happy ending might not involve marriage at all. Perhaps she'd find fulfillment in intellectual or political pursuits. But since Bridgerton is first and foremost a romance drama, the odds are slim that her arc will end without pairing her with someone. And that's that for today's video, folks. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.